we have the power, the authority, and the dominion. But we can't flow in it if we don't believe it. And so I'm just gonna use myself as a witness, a testimony, a story of what God He did with me. So what happened was a few years ago, about 5 years ago, I just got really hungry for God. I got hungry for presence. You know, do you know? Well, you guys, everybody in here, I think everybody in here, when you walk in here, you can feel the presence of God. How many can actually physically feel His presence?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So it's out of that presence that the river flows. It's out of that presence that the river flows. But see, I never really knew what that meant. So I'm working graveyard one year, and I just began to get really hungry for the presence of God. And so somebody had introduced me to this guy named Sid Roth. I don't know if anybody knows who Sid Roth is. He has this TV program, and he invites these people that are flowing in the supernatural, that are actually going out and doing the stuff. And so I downloaded a whole bunch of his programs on my laptop. And there was two particular guys. One guy's name is Todd White, and another guy's name is Jason Westerfield. Now, Todd White, he was a drug addict for like 15 years. Heroin, really messed up.
Yep.
Anyway, he has an encounter with the Lord. He gets saved. He goes to a church where they believe that we can be like Jesus. And so, in one of the classes that he was being taught in, he heard that the verse that says, "And these signs shall follow them that believe that in my name they'll be able to heal the sick, cast out demons, the lame will walk, and all that." And so he thought, you know what? His pastor was doing it. He was seeing his pastor do it, and he says, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So what he did is, he decided that he was going to go, every day he was going to go out in the street and pray for as many people as he could pray for. So it wound up, he was praying for at least anywhere from 15 to 20 people every day out in the street. He did this for 3 months. So every day he was out there praying for that many people. And nothing seemed to happen. Nothing seemed to happen. And after the 3rd month, one day he went out there, he prayed for somebody that had, I forget what it was, but they were instantly healed. Bam! Because God met his faith. He just had to keep pressing in until something happened. And so what happened is because of his tenacity to believe that something was going to happen, it did happen. So he had this, he was invited on Sid Roth, and I watched when he would go out on the street and pray for people. And then I started downloading YouTube videos of him going out in the street and watching him pray for people, and actually seeing people get instantly healed out on the street. And in the meantime, I was also getting a lot of other materials from other people that were also flowing in the supernatural. So I was reading people like John G. Lake, he was an evangelist that lived in the early 1900s, and he had a healing room in Washington. He had gone to Africa. He had led thousands of people to the Lord, but he had this awesome healing ministry. I mean, thousands of people getting healed. And then I continued to just watch these programs and watching people getting healed. And I thought to myself, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it too.
There you go.
So I just kept filling myself with that stuff and reading the scripture and going over scriptures, the healing scriptures and stuff. And then after about 3 months, Yeah, it was about 3 months, about the same, like Todd White. After 3 months of that, I came to church one morning, and I was greeting one of the pastors, and he said, "Oh," I said, "Well, how you doing?" He goes, I hurt my knee, and it's been hurting for over a week. I can barely walk." I said, "Are you in pain right now?" He says, "Yeah, I'm in pain." I said, "Well, let me pray for you." So I just laid hands on him, prayed like I was watching these guys going out in the street praying. And then I said, "Okay, how's it feel now?" He goes, "Oh, it feels better." I said, "Oh, really?" And I prayed for him again. And the second time, all the pain left. And I said, "Well, is it good?" He goes, "Well, the only thing that's left is it just kind of crackles and pops when I flex my knee." I said, "Well, I prayed for that too." So I laid my hand on his knee, prayed for that to go away, and it did. And it did. And that was the first one for me. And after that, I just looked for every opportunity to pray for people that had problems. And God was really faithful in meeting me in healing people like right away. There was a lady at work that had she needed a knee replacement, and I just was she worked in the lab, and I was there to do a little bit of work on one of her instruments. And so I see her limping around, and she was walking, really bad like this. And so I asked her, "What's going on?" She says, "Well, I need a knee replacement, but I'm just waiting for the right time because I'm getting close to retirement." And so I sat next to her, and we were just talking, chit-chatting, and then I said, "Well, will you let me pray for your knee?" She goes, "Well, I don't believe in that stuff." And I said, "That's okay. I do. It only matters if I do." And I had to talk her into it because she didn't want me to pray for her. And she finally, I said, "What do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose." And then finally, she said, "Okay." So I prayed for her 3 times, and by the 3rd time, all the pain left. She was hardly limping anymore. She had a slight limp, but it was only because she'd been limping for so long, it was like a habit.
Mm-hmm.
That was 3 years ago, and her knee's still good. Her knee's still good. So all this stuff is happening, and I'm telling Shelli all of these things that are happening, and then I also find out that when people's one leg is shorter than the other, it got to the point to where when I touch their legs, that the one that's short, it just automatically grows out. I don't even have to pray; it just grows out. And so I like to use that so that other people could see what God is doing. So I'd ask Shelli to hold her legs up, because when she held her legs up, it wouldn't grow up. And I'll give the mic over to her.
Yeah, so I was the leg holder person. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't want to be no stinking leg holder person. I want to be the one that when I touch it, it grows out too. I got really jealous. I was almost getting kind of mad that he was like, "Honey, go ahead and hold those legs." I'm like, I don't want to be the leg holder. And so I did. I got hungry too. I got jealous. I was like, I want that. I want to see people healed too. I want to be able to lay my hands on people and for them to be free and for them to be whole as well. I don't want to see people sick, and it makes me so angry that the enemy has so much power over people, or they don't understand that they don't have to be sick, that God's not teaching them a lesson with illness. That is such a lie. That is such a lie that's even preached from the pulpit of churches, that God allows sickness so it'll make you stronger and teach you a lesson. And I'm like, what kind of lesson does that teach me? That would teach me that my God's mean and he doesn't love me, which is opposite from what the Bible's teaching us, right? He teaches us that he loves us and that he wants only good for us and that he only does good. Okay, if God's bringing sickness in so to teach you a lesson, what's good about that? Nothing. So it must be a lie, right? Yes, it's a lie. It's a lie. So I decided that I wanted to see people well too. And so I started getting hungry. And so then, after a little while, he would say, honey, go ahead and get those feet. So I'd get those feet, I'd touch those legs, and all of a sudden they would grow out even without us praying. I was like, that's right. That's right. And what it did was it encouraged me to know that what he had, I had. Mm-hmm. What he has, I have. Mm-hmm. And that if he can partner with me to do this, that it's for anybody else too. How many of us know people who are sick, or who have headaches even, or a spouse mm-hmm. that's battling depression, mm-hmm. or just, a mom who's just frazzled and just needs refreshment, or a husband that needs a knee replacement. How many of us know these people? We all know these people, or we are those people. Mm-hmm. I've even prayed for myself even. I hurt myself just a couple of weeks ago where I fell, and I had a bruise starting across my hand, and it hurt so bad. I was on my way to church. And so I'm driving, and I've got my finger touching my other hand as I'm trying to drive to church. And I just declared that it was healed, that it was well, that nothing was broken. And that the only thing that was left there by the time I had gotten down here to church, we live on the other end of town, was a little tiny discoloration where I had fallen. That was it, just to prove that it had happened. But there was no pain. So we can even pray for ourselves. We can put our hands on our own head and pray for depression to leave, or heart sickness. Some people are just brokenhearted. You can pray for your own self. Yeah. And we can pray for our families and for people we know, because we have it in us. If he lives in us, we have it too. All of us have it. All of us do. It's not just for the healing dudes or whoever, It's not just for certain people. Gone are the days where it's like one mighty man of God who has all this stuff. We are all that mighty man of God. We all have it.
And it's so encouraging for me to see other people that are doing that too. But really our heart here at Grace Point, is for all of us to come to knowledge and understanding that all of us can flow. And not just healing, but the other giftings that God has given.
Right.
But like I said, the only thing that keeps us from doing that is, what are we believing? Are we believing that everything that Jesus gave us is for us? Or are we believing that we're powerless, that, it's not for me, or, that's the only thing that makes a difference, is what are we believing? And so that's why it's really important to read the Word, to meditate on it, especially on those scriptures that talk about who you are. And everything that Jesus did, say, everything that Jesus did.
Everything that Jesus did,
I can do.
I can do.
Why? Because he's
in me.
In you. So this morning, I just want to release declarations over us right now. I declare that everything that Jesus can do, you can do. Yeah. I declare that the words that you speak are the same words that Jesus speaks, because he dwells in you. Yes. I declare that atmospheres will change wherever you go, because the presence of God dwells in you and is around you. Yes. And the other thing I want to declare is that there is no one in this room is powerless, but they're powerful. Say, I am powerful.
I am powerful.
Because Jesus lives in me.
Because Jesus lives in me.
And also this, there is nothing impossible. There's nothing impossible that we can't do.
We can do.
Because God's in me. You know the only limits that we have? The only limitation we have is right here. Because God said there's nothing impossible. Nothing. So can everybody just stand up?